3 Israeli citizens, Liran Yaakovov, Natanel Aviv and Rahum, have been convicted for stealing properties belonging to victims of the October 7, 2023 massacre when groups of Hamas fighters invaded the Nova Music Festival near Kibbutz Be'eri, barely 5 kilometers away from Gaza, with over 4,400 fun seekers at the music party, and killed more than 360 persons at the music festival, which led to the state of Israel waging wars in Hamas-controlled Gaza, Hezbollah-controlled Lebanon, Iran under Ayatollah Khamenei Supreme Leadership, and recently in Houthis-controlled Yemen. According to Israeli-based media, Unet News, nearly 2 years after the October 7 massacre, prosecutors asked the Be'er Magistrates Court to impose prison sentences ranging from 3.5 to 5 years and order compensation for victims on 3 Israelis, Liran Yaakovov, Natanel Aviv and Rahum, convicted of stealing property from the Nova Music Festival massacre site. The defendants roamed among bodies and burned cars, grabbing whatever they could, prosecutor Tehla Needham said during Monday's sentencing arguments. She noted that some stolen items belonged to innocent civilians who fled for their lives or were murdered during the attack, adding, "They desecrated the dignity of the murdered, with bodies still lying in the area. Their actions violate the most basic societal norms." The prosecution also requested a fine of 80,000 shekels, $21,000, for the defendants. "Anyone seeking to rob helpless citizens will not only lose out but pay double," Needham said. The defense disputed her claims, interrupting to argue that the accusation of looting near bodies wasn't in the indictment, saying they were near bodies or burned corpses, when it's not in the charges, is an attempt to mislead the court, a defense attorney contended, adding that the proposed punishment was disproportionate. The act was disgraceful, but not severe enough to justify such a penalty, the defense said. Judge Shoshrid responded, "It's well known there were bodies there, even on October 8. Make your arguments in turn." She added that the trio's actions were planned, dismissing claims of them being foolish or childish. The verdict is expected by late September. It would be recalled that the Times of Israel reported on November 17, 2023 that police said that they had arrested 5 individuals suspected of stealing the sound equipment from a man murdered at the Supernova Music Festival in southern Israel, where over 260 were massacred by Hamas terrorists on October 7. The equipment, worth some 2 million new Israeli shekels, NIS, $530,000, was found in the homes of the suspects and then returned to Matan Lior's father. The suspects, named as Ram Shaheen, Yasser Matni, Daniel Hassan, Adam Abu Rukun and Son Tevel, were arrested in Karlansor, Asfiya and Daliat al-Carmel. They are believed to have arrived at the scene of the massacre near Kibbutz Rahum after the violence died down, taking advantage of the chaos to make away with the expensive equipment that soundman Lior, 35, had brought to the party. Police said that an indictment would be filed against the suspects, along with a request to confiscate equipment worth this $185,000, $50,000, allegedly used by the suspects to carry out the crime. Lior was murdered along with hundreds of revelers as Hamas terrorists stormed the area and mowed down attendees, kidnapping many others into Gaza. Ofer, his father, said that police returned his son's wallet and ID card, which were also stolen, and added that the thieves had personally known his son. "It was Matan's whole world," he told the Unet News site, adding that the perpetrators had even showed up for his son's shiva to console the family. "They hugged me and said they share in my grief," Ofer continued. "I never thought they could do such a thing. It saddens me that they knew him and did what they did." The rave was targeted by Hamas terrorists when they stormed into Israel via the destroyed Gaza border fence on October 7. Gunman embarked on an onslaught in southern Israel, killing some 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and taking some 240 hostages. Al Jazeera on November 18, 2023 narrated the Hamas attack at the music festival with a report stating that the Hamas fighters who attacked a music festival in Israel on October 7, killing hundreds, likely did not know in advance about the event and decided to target it on the spot, Israeli media has reported, citing police and security sources. According to a copy of the first Israeli police report into the attack, obtained this week by Israel's Channel 12, Palestinian fighters had originally intended to attack nearby Kibbutz Rahum as well as other villages near the Gaza border. They found out about the music festival with drones and from the air as they parachuted into Israel. Some 4,400 people had reportedly been at the event that Saturday when Hamas broke through Israel's high security barrier, which includes radar system and underground sensors, and attacked military posts and villages in southern Israel, killing 1,200 people, mostly civilians, according to Israeli authorities. This Saturday, Israeli newspaper Haaretz reported that the growing assessment in Israel's security establishment, based on the police investigation and on interrogations of captured Hamas members, is that the group had not planned to target the event. While police found maps of the target locations on the bodies of killed Hamas members, none was of the festival location. An additional finding supporting the assessment, according to Haaretz, was that Hamas militants did not approach the festival from the direction of the border but from a nearby highway. In addition, the event had originally been scheduled to take place on Thursday and Friday, with Saturday added to the program only on Tuesday that week. The report also found that most of the festival goers had managed to leave the event by the time Hamas showed up and the massacre began. The large majority of people who were at the event managed to flee following the decision to disperse the event made 4 minutes after the rocket attack, according to a senior police source quoted by Haaretz. The police investigation also found that an Israeli military helicopter opened fire on the assailants but also hit some people attending the festival. No further details were provided, Haaretz reported. An investigation into the incident revealed an Israeli military combat helicopter that arrived at the scene from the Ramat David base fired at the terrorists and apparently also hit some of the revelers there, the news report cited an unnamed police official as saying.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Flights at McAllen International Airport on Monday early morning were delayed for several hours as 27-year-old gunman, Ryan Louis Mosqueda, ambushed and shot at the United States, U.S. Border Police Patrol agents in Texas, injuring 2 police officers and a Border Patrol employee, the suspect was later shot dead at the entrance of the U.S. Border Patrol Federal Building. This occurred less than 48 hours when, on Saturday, a North Texas police officer was ambushed at a DHS facility and shot in the neck by 8 men in body armor. These incidents happened amid nationwide rise in threats to immigration and custom enforcement, I.C.E. personnel and Border Patrol agents over President Donald Trump Immigrants' deportation policy. Local media reported that the federal agents returned fire at the suspect, identified as Ryan Louis Mosqueda, who was armed with a rifle and wearing a utility vest. Mosqueda was killed at the scene, McAllen Police Chief Victor Rodriguez said. U.S. Department of Homeland Security, in a statement on its X social media handle, stated that, this morning an individual opened fire at the entrance of the United States Border Patrol Sector Annex in McAllen, Texas. Both Border Patrol agents and local police helped neutralize the shooter. 2 officers and a Border Patrol employee were injured, including 1 shot in the knee. All 3 have gone to the hospital. This is an ongoing investigation led by the FBI. While blaming politicians for the continuous attacks on security operatives, the U.S. Homeland Security Department said, this administration is not playing games with the lives and safety of our I.C.E. officers. I.C.E. law enforcement is facing a 700% increase in assaults against them due to rhetoric from politicians like Mayor Bass. Secretary Noem's message is clear: if you lay a hand on a law enforcement officer, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The suspect never made it inside the building but fired many rounds at the building, Rodriguez said. Mosqueda has a Michigan address and arrived in a car with additional weapons and ammunition inside, the police added. McAllen police responded to the scene shortly before 6 a.m. where the shooter attacked the federal building with an assault rifle at about 5:45 a.m., according to local media and residents. Local media added that Ismael Garcia, a 10-year veteran with the McAllen police who responded to the scene, was struck in the knee during the shootout and is in recovery, quoting Chief Rodriguez, who said it during a news conference. 3 officers sustained gunshots injuries from inside the building as bullets shattered the windows, sending shards of glass flying, according to local media. Incidents like these make us realize that we've to always be on guard to keep our community safe, Rodriguez said, adding that the officers and a Border Patrol employee who were injured, including the officer who was shot in the knee, are expected to recover. It was gathered that law enforcement officers at the scene found additional assault weapons and ammunition in the vehicle, and spray-painted writing was found on the side of the vehicle. Police is yet to provide further details of the lettering and stated that it's unknown if it's connected to the attack. Mosqueda is believed to have some ties to the community, as he was reported missing from a Weslaco address, approximately 18 miles east of McAllen, at 4 a.m. However, Rodriguez could not disclose the nature of those ties. Rodriguez said a motive for the attack remains unknown and declined to call the attack an act of terrorism, saying not enough information is available. However, the FBI will now lead the investigation as the incident involved an attack on federal offices and a federal building. Flights at the nearby McAllen International Airport were delayed for several hours as law enforcement secured the area. U.S. President Donald Trump, a Republican, has made combating illegal immigration a top priority, sending troops to secure the U.S.-Mexico border and launching aggressive raids in U.S. cities, which led to widespread protests by Americans against the White House policy. The anti-illegal immigrant policy supported by Trump's hardline Republican base have also led to pushback from Americans concerned about arrests of non-criminals and enforcement tactics that include officers wearing masks to hide their identities. Images from the scene showed Cordis Die, a Latin phrase meaning hard day, written on the driver's door of the white, two-door car. Cordis Die is also a fictional populist revolutionary movement in the Call of Duty, Black Operations 2 video game, according to fan websites as reported by Reuters. Reuters also reported that Mosqueda's father was stopped for a traffic infraction at 3:48 a.m. in Weslaco and told police he was searching for his son, according to a report by local Telemundo station T40, citing Weslaco police. Adding, Mosqueda's father, Jose Mosqueda, told an officer his son had a mental deficiency, had not taken any medication and was carrying firearms in his vehicle, according to the T40 report. Police identified the license plate of Ryan Mosqueda's vehicle and alerted authorities, the report said. Weslaco police did not respond to a request for comment and it was not immediately possible to contact Jose Mosqueda. The facility where the shooting took place houses Border Patrol's Special Operations teams, according to a former U.S. Customs and Border Protection official. Flights at the nearby McAllen International Airport were delayed for several hours on Monday as law enforcement secured the area. It would be recalled that several suspects were taken into custody after a police officer was injured in a shooting at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention facility in Alvarado, Texas, in the late night hours of 4th of July, 2025. Local media reported that just before 11 p.m., the Alvarado Police Department said it was called to the 1200 block of Sunflower Lane, outside the I.C.E. Prairieland detention facility, on a report of a suspicious person. When officers arrived, they saw a person who appeared to be carrying a firearm, according to a news release. Alvarado police said that when one of the first responding officers tried to engage with the person, an unknown number of suspects opened fire. At least one bullet struck an officer in the neck, police said. The injured officer was flown from the scene to a Fort Worth hospital, was treated and later released, Alvarado police said. According to Alvarado police, several armed suspects were taken into custody after trying to flee the scene.
bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Imho State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has given reasons why a suspected kidnapper, Obinna Orji, who the police said his gang are responsible for series of kidnapping and armed robbery in Anambra, Delta and Rivers states, has not been charged to court since he was arrested, while condemning an ex-social media post published by an account holder named Fisayo Suyombo, who has raised alarm that the police arrested and detained Obinna Orji. He described in the post as a businessman for 8 months without charging him to court. In a swift reaction on Saturday, Imho State Police Command, in a statement issued and made available by the command spokesperson, Okoye Henry, narrated and listed the alleged crimes committed by the detained Obinna Orji, saying, "The kind of crimes Obinna is allegedly involved in are capital offenses that police has no right to grant his bail, and the delay in taking him to court is because the alleged crimes cut across multiple states which required more time for proper investigation." Fisayo Suyombo, who often introduces himself as an undercover investigator, had tweeted on X social media on Saturday with a photograph of the police officer in charge of the case and said, SP Ola, the officer in charge of the anti-kidnapping unit of the police in Imho, has been detaining Obinna Orji, a 43-year-old businessman, for 8 straight months without charging him to court. SP Ola says nobody, not even the IGP, can compel him to act otherwise. And the police replied and said, the Imho State Police Command is aware of a recent misleading publication on the social media platform X, authored by Mr. Fisayo Suyombo, alleging the unlawful detention of one Mr. Obinna Orji by the officer in charge of the anti-kidnapping unit, CSP Olademeji Odeyewa. To set the record straight, Mr. Obinna Orji is a key suspect in multiple high-profile cases of kidnapping and armed robbery. He is an ex-convict previously remanded at the Okigwe Correctional Center, 2017-2019, over conspiracy and armed robbery charges. His most recent arrest was based on credible intelligence, linking him to a criminal syndicate involved in trafficking stolen vehicles acquired through violent crimes. Consequently, Obinna Orji and his syndicate ran out of luck when they kidnapped Chief Ekena Okafor on the 15th of November 2024 and dispossessed him of his Toyota Highlander SUV, a gold necklace, and other valuables worth over 20 million nairas, after which a ransom of 10 million nairas was paid. Swift tactical operations by the anti-kidnapping unit led to the arrest of 2 suspects, Chidozie Chukwu and Uchenna Chukwu, whose confessions subsequently led to the arrest of Obinna Orji, identified as a key figure in the kidnapping operation. During interrogation, Mr. Orji voluntarily confessed to receiving and selling vehicles obtained through armed robbery and kidnapping. His confessional statements significantly advanced ongoing investigations and led to the recovery of several stolen vehicles across Imho, Anambra, Delta, and Rivers states. These include a black Toyota Highlander, another Toyota Highlander with a Bonyi registration, a black Range Rover Sport, 4 minibuses, and a Toyota Camry Spider model. Further investigations led to the arrest of 9 other syndicate members and the recovery of an AK-47 rifle, 2 pump-action guns, over 40 rounds of ammunition, and other incriminating items, confirming the group's involvement in organized violent crime. While it is true that Mr. Orji has been in custody for a period, we wish to clarify that he has not been held for up to 8 months as alleged. His detention is related to capital offenses for which bail cannot be granted by the police. Moreover, the complexity of the investigation, spanning multiple states and involving several suspects, has necessitated his continued detention, particularly as his cooperation remains crucial to unraveling the syndicate's operations. He will be arraigned in court at the earliest possible time. The Imho State Police Command wishes to emphasize that CSP Odeyewa and his team operate within the confines of the law and remain accountable to the professional and ethical standards of the Nigeria Police Force. Any allegation of human rights abuse or professional misconduct may be formally reported to the Complaint Response Unit, CRU, or the X Squad Unit for prompt and appropriate action. It is unfortunate that such a serious matter of national security was misrepresented and published without first seeking clarification from the command. Issues of this magnitude demand responsible and professional reporting, not sensationalism. The Imho State Police Command remains unwavering in its commitment to transparency, the protection of human rights, and the enforcement of the rule of law. We call on the public to disregard any misleading narratives and continue to support our ongoing efforts to make Imho State safer for all, the police stated.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way. Bringing you the news in a more digital way.